Disney's Snow White was released in March of 2025, after nearly 1 decade in production hell. Unfortunately, as with most abominations that were spawned from hell, audience reactions were largely negative. But unlike a demon baby with octopus hands and spider fangs, this remake failed to even generate morbid curiosity due to its mishmash of unpleasant characteristics. And the box office results reflected this, with Snow White falling $115 million short of its $430 million budget, one of Disney's lowest rated live action remakes. This year's version of Snow White was plagued with back-to-back production challenges and controversies since its announcement in 2018, leaving Ms. White and her terrifying harem of CGI cave workers with a difficult uphill battle that would make a standoff against the demon octo spider baby feel like a walk in the park. Oh, by the way, I see demons now and I feel it is my responsibility to battle them. So take that, Reddit users who are speculating about my mental health. Hiya! See, I just saved your lives again from that flashing blue and red light demon who lives at my front door. It has 4 legs, 64 teeth, and the voice of 2 police officers performing a wellness check. Nothing says I'm fine quite like aggressively rejecting the help of concerned strangers. In fact, that's part of the first chapter of this new book that I'm working on. Introducing The Literal Guide to Defeating Non-Metaphorical Monsters by Professor Collingsworth Dillingham, and published by Self. Now, would someone who is not doing well be able to put this together? I rest my gaze. It's gonna be very handsome on the bookshelf. We've got to get the kids interested in reading again. You can no longer see the book, but just know that it is looming over my shoulder. Besides, if you want a truly worrying writing sample, look no further than the subject of today's clip breakdown, which kind of ends up feeling like an unoriginal shot-for-shot remake of the 1937 animated original, except for the few times when it decides to be randomly and conspicuously different. Sort of like when Avril Lavigne would wear a necktie as a belt. Like, okay honey, what are you trying to say, that your waistline goes to work at my dad's office? I don't give a f. But hopefully all of you do, and therefore remain seated for the entirety of this recap of a modern day Disney flop that will also examine the pitifully unprofitable pitfalls of a film that features a politically controversial cast of poorly extrapolated characters. I'm working out that P on the keyboard like it is my last nerve. Including a star in the title role who had a lot of big things she had been meaning to say, but only a little bit of media training when she said it, and a nearly total movie reshoot that had to happen when Disney finally realized that Peter Dinklage giving his opinion on a podcast was not in fact an official spokesperson who represented the global dwarvism community. Go figure. So grab a seat and start sharpening your finest demon slaying swords. Mine are just 2 knives that I'm loosely holding. It's time to watch a musical adventure that will remind you of The Greatest Showman, including all of the same songwriters, catchy repetitive hooks, disappointing box office returns, and the empowering yet accessible large group choreography designed to set the trend for community theaters around the globe for the next 1,000 years. Disregard all other Snow White reviews on the internet and get ready for this fairest of them all installment of Clip Breakdown. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other such content here on the web. And we break it down like the body and soul of the huntsman who was hired to kill us by our stepmother. He has to pay for his crime even though he was just following orders. I don't care. And mama, you have not had a Disney movie with as much attempted political assassination as you have had in this one. That's why we gotta break it down and look at each individual morsel and joint and knuckle and bone fragment and decide why this movie was probably one of Disney's biggest flops in the live action remake era of it all. But before we get into it, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload new ones sometimes. I'm gonna do it more often now. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button right over here. Or if you've been thinking about subscribing, but I haven't been uploading recently, so you have been holding off, but now I'm like here in front of your face and it's easier to click subscribe than to not, because think of all the potential fun that we'll have, then make sure you hit that subscribe button right over here. That way you'll never miss new videos from me. Also, hit that subscribing bell icon and you'll always be the first to know when I've got a huntsman in the garage wasting away. I worked myself up into a fever pitch when I was doing that intro, so I have to take this shirt off now. The sweatshirt's gotta go. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, Why, is that a new piece of merchandise for me? Why, yes it is. Introducing the Me and Mr. Wonka t-shirt featuring my Willy Wonka review character. I don't remember what her name was. I'm calling her Cheryl, and I became Cheryl, so I don't even know what I said at that time. Link for the merch in the description below. But hey, another thing to think about clicking is the sponsor of today's video. It's interesting how Snow White, which is the title that launched Disney, is now one of its biggest flops. Reports say that it cost the company over $350 million. That's a financial fairy tale gone wrong. And honestly, I get it. I've made some less than enchanted financial decisions myself. Like, did I need to buy every limited edition lipstick that dropped in 2023? No, but here we are. Like, oh, ColourPop and Care Bears teamed up to bring us this milky blue shade that makes me look dead. Let's get it. Which is why today I'm very happy to share our sponsor of this video with you. I'm talking about PDS Debt. And if you're like me, and you sometimes get that sinking feeling in your gut when it's time to check your bank account, then keep listening. Because whether you have credit card debt, or personal loans, or student loans, or medical bills, PDS Debt may be able to help. PDS Debt isn't your one-size-all typical financial solution, okay? They take a look at your specific situation and factor all of that in using smart tech to tailor a plan that works for you. And the best part, there is no minimum credit score required. So if your credit is looking a little more like a horror story than a happily ever after, don't worry, they've still got you. PDS Debt has already helped over 100,000 people resolve more than $500 million in debt. That's a lot of people who got true love's kiss on the forehead of their bank account because it was dead and then it became alive again. It's like what happens later in the movie. That's the kind of happy ending we all need. I want to go from financial stress to financial slay. Getting started is ridiculously easy. Just go to pdsdebt.com/Nick DiRamio. That's pdsdebt.com/Nick DiRamio and take their free 30-second debt assessment. That's all you need. 30 seconds to see real options tailored for you. So instead of spiraling over bad purchases, me next week when I'm looking at that Dunkin' Donuts by Morphe eyeshadow palette collecting dust, do something that future you will thank you for. Head to pdsdebt.com/Nick DiRamio today and take back control of your finances. How about them poison apples? Thanks again, PDS Debt, for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to the fairy tale. Okay, it feels like I've been talking for 1,000 years before even getting into the first clip, so let's just dive in to Snow White, which, I mean, if you can watch it on Disney streaming, you're one of millions who have. Apparently, this movie's having like a resurgence, despite its disappointing box office returns, sort of becoming like a streaming underdog, like it's really picking up numbers, I guess, on Disney Plus, which means you'll have a better viewing experience than I did. This bootleg version, there's like a watermark floating across the screen at all times. You can hear people opening their fucking jujubes and Mike and Ike's in the next seat over. There are people coughing throughout the entire runtime. This movie makes me sick because I was stuck in a theater with 1,000 virtual people and one of them happened to have an iPhone in their breast pocket. So thank you to that person. Disney, I've never heard of you. I don't know what a law is and I've never broken one. So don't even try to copyright claim this movie. Don't even try. I'm admitting to never doing anything wrong. That's how you know I'm innocent. Anyway, Disney clearly stacked the team for this movie like in favor of it being a big commercial success. They got Benji, or Ben with the silent J, Pasek and Justin Paul to write the book and the score. This is the songwriting duo that previously worked on movies like La La Land and The Greatest Showman, and originally the musical Dear Evan Hansen. So obviously both of those movies and that musical have like a lot of iconic songs that are just like so fun to sing. It's like The Greatest Showman, they're all like, who's gonna tell me I've got a beard? And then La La Land, she's like, City of Stars. And then with Evan Hansen, he's like, waving through the window. Whoa. You know, they have lots of, it's fun for your voice. If you're a musical theater kid, you're gonna yourself over anything that these people write. And frankly, they tried to do their big one with this movie. I'm not sure we got all the way there. It was a good one, not their biggest. With songs like Good Things Grow and Waiting on a Wish, I would say Good Things Grow is the catchiest and first number in the whole movie. So let's jump into this magical, idyllic kingdom where a young Snow White and her still alive parents are having the time of their lives, both living and being alive with her.
That tender seed, trusting something good will grow. Our kingdom for the free and the
Oh, how adorable that French braided little thinks her parents are even gonna survive to the second act of this piece of shit movie with such a positive and optimistic character introduction. These are the most about to die Disney parents that have ever appeared on screen in theatrical history, to the point where I wish I could kill them myself. Oh, you thought you would live a happy life together, benevolent royals, in a kingdom where your main export is fake apples and wooden baskets full of seed? That's laughable. Nobody dies faster than the quaint, happy parents in a German children's story. It's part of the country's doctrine called Das Orphankacker-Dassitz. which dictates that all fairy tale protagonists must be left parentless and abused, to teach children that they are all alone in a world that hates them, governed by a god who doesn't care. And like all troubling belief systems from early 20th century Germany, Walt Disney said, I'm gonna go ahead and adopt that right into American culture, thank you very much. And here we are, this girl and her parents. This movie actually did better in Europe than it did in America. You know, there was a lot of controversy around the casting of Rachel Zegler, who played Maria in West Side Story by Steven Spielberg, because she's Latina. And obviously in the original Snow White fairy tale, Snow White had skin as white as snow and lips as red as blood. It's like, she's all, oh, we get it, you have fluids and you have a face, we don't care. But there's like versions of the story, because apparently, as Zegler said when she had to defend her casting in interviews, this was a very popular fairy tale in Mexico, and they adopted a version of the fairy tale where Snow White was named after a storm that she was born in and survived magically despite the lack of warmth. And so that's where she gets her name in this movie as well. She's a storm baby. She survived the storm. Don't worry. And her parents are all like, hello, great people of the land. And they love their red delicious apples in this town. They were making pies and tarts and huge, like putting their fingers in all these pies. Like, it's disgusting. I'm like, Dad, can you stop touching everyone's food? But that just shows that they're bountiful, gentle people. They don't have to kill animals or slaughter meat. They just eat their apples and they throw seeds around like this while there's cherry blossoms in the background. They can live off cherries and apples and seed, almond seed. Forever. And they're excited by little Snow White. The parents are watching her. She's like giving her flower crown to this like little girl who's like, I'm poor, but I still have feelings. And Snow White's like, I know you do. Here's a crown, baby girl. And it's like, that's how we know she's not a sociopath. She did something nice when nobody told her to. Naturally, someone's got to die for this movie to get started. We can't just have like a happy family all as a unit. Take it away, narrator.
Then tragedy struck. Snow White's mother fell ill, and the good queen died.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
And parent number 1 has cosmically clocked out of her being alive shift due to an unnamed illness, a favorite method amongst Disney movie mom deaths. Oh, hath the queen fallen ill? Shall she perish? Well then drop the diagnosis, sis. I'm from the future. I might have some ibuprofen in my purse that could save her life, but not if you're going to spare the children by being all secretive about her symptoms. It's one of my several thousand cinematic pet peeves. I will forever be in the back row of the theater like, tell us what disease killed her. Was it a whooping cough situation? Or did she diarrhea herself to death? You can call it cynical curiosity. You can call it morbid curiosity. You could also call it the inspiration for this Disney style song that I hope will be considered for the extended Blu-ray edition of Snow White, where they digitally insert me as a curious townsperson who is gently asking about Snow White's mom's illness, because we want to know. Hit it, band.
Was it a 17th century STD that they would just call consumption? Or something too real for Disney, like a heart that failed to function? Oh, I wanna know what killed your mom. Did it hurt real bad? Did it take real long? Did she cry out to God? Oh, please just take me, give me the details. Don't be vague, please. I wanna know how your mom died. I wanna know how your mom died.
Be honest, do you think the sound was a little too down-home, bluegrass Billy Ray Cyrus? Like, I know this movie takes place in a European countryside, but to me, there's only one country, and it will never be pushed to the side. And that's the United States of America, a poorly governed, bigoted nightmare zone that makes the planet worse for everybody, where the streets are paved with the scattered bones of the indigenous people that we murdered to obtain real estate. And I'm proud to be an American. Oh, no, my producer is signaling that we are not allowed to do a second song in a row because the polyps in the back of my esophagus will rupture. By the way, the producer is a nickname I gave to the taste of blood in my mouth. Anyway, oh no, the book fell. Anywho, we're 4 minutes into the movie. Let's forge ahead, soldiers, shall we? Give me the details. So your mom died, little girl. Let's see it happen again. No, let's not. The dad is like single for 5 seconds before he gets a new wife, played by Gal Gadot. She is stunningly gorgeous, questionable when it comes to like acting ability, if you ask me and the internet. But anyway, she's playing the evil queen, which she says is like her dream role. And I'm like, girl, your dream is my nightmare. We did not have the same bedtime story. The narrator is like, oh, this queen, she's so beautiful that she has magic powers, because that's a thing, but she's still not as pretty as Snow White, as it turns out. So maybe she has to be an adult to be considered pretty, or now she's just cute because she's a little girl. And it doesn't matter. Let's not overthink that. The queen is obsessed with this magic mirror because it tells her every day if she's the fairest of the land. By the way, Disney really thought they were being so clever, because like the dad in his song about good things growing, he's like, the home of the free and the fair. So they're like, the fairest of them all means like socialism. We give hungry people food and like we make it fair. So like if you commit a crime, you only get a punishment that's worthy of the crime. We're not gonna kill you for nothing. Don't worry. Unless you kill someone, then we're gonna slaughter your family. But that's like, because it's fair. We're the fairest of them all. You know, fair. Whereas in the original fairy tale, obviously, when she asks who the fairest of them all is, she means like, who's the prettiest. So we have that double meaning at play throughout the whole movie, and you're gonna love it. Anyway, the queen like literally makes up a war by being like, people from where I'm from are gonna like come kill you, so your dad needs to go to war and like fight the battle. She makes up some excuse to send him off, and it's like, girl, if you had one homing pigeon in all of this palace, we could have saved ourselves a few lives here, but whatever.
She warned of a terrible threat from beyond the southern kingdom, so the good king swore to defend his people, but the king did not return.
Sorry, Snow White. Looks like your jealous stepmom is in charge of the kingdom now. And her first political act is giving you that Bob. This plot point highlights a very important lesson for little Lord Farquaad over here. And I'm not just talking about the fallibility of an absolute monarchy. It reminds society that as a woman, you are either incredibly kind or secretly conniving. Comment below with which one you are. I'm the one. Oh, and also, if your dad ever gets remarried, God will kill him, ruin your life, and punish everyone you know. So if he ever decides it's time to start dating again, you need to attack his new girlfriend with all of the force and power of the Parent Trap. I'm talking put a salamander on her face, allow her air mattress to drift into the middle of a lake, microdose her food and beverages with asbestos in order to sterilize her, lock a reverse bear trap on her head and force her to kill a man in order to find the key inside of his body and remove the device just before her jaw is ripped off. Okay, I know that's more of a saw trap and not a Parent Trap, but we don't always have to be cute here, okay? This is the woman that tried to replace your mom. We gotta take the down. Anyway, Snow White gets her hair cut with a sword because the queen is like, surely with your hair being short, I will be the fairest forever. No one likes a short hair. It's like, okay, she still got the face of an angel, but do you, gal. And then she makes Snow White work as a scullery maid, literally mopping the same floor for 1,000 years, it seems like, and the rest of the kingdom just sort of forgets. The kingdom is not doing great under the evil queen's orders. She like is starving them out. She keeps all of the food for herself and her like 4 friends, I would imagine. They don't show it, but I think it's like a Sex in the City type thing. Ooh, fun prequel idea. And Snow White is forced to just work in servitude. And she's like, I wish shut I could be different or something. There's songs all about it. They show her growing up via song.
As the years passed, the people nearly forgot there ever was a princess named Snow White.
I'm unhappy for you, Snow, and I'm gonna let you finish mopping, but 15th century monks had the most unflattering and humbling bowl cuts of all time. What kind of oompa loompa doompity doo is she sporting here? Get it? Come on, Snow, with this hair. Wait, is her first name really just Snow? Is that what her friends call her? Oh, she doesn't have any friends except for the birds and the baby deer? Okay, I'm gonna call her Snow. It's crazy to me that they would modernize so many aspects of the original Snow White movie, but they couldn't help out my girl Rachel Zegler with some choppy layers and a beachy wave. The only time I would let someone cut my hair with a sword is if the rest of my head was coming off with it, because I do not want to live a single day with a blunt, weirdly bulbous Victorian bob that gives my head the silhouette of a circumcised penis. Who would want to live under these conditions? This poor girl. That's the Pantene patriarchy. Although Disney will probably say that they were just trying to mimic the hairstyle that Snow White had in the original animated film. Seems like a weird hill to die on. That original film wasn't ever period accurate either. Animated Snow White's look was largely modeled after popular 1930s beauty trends that were considered modern when the original film was made. That Snow White was literally named after her skin being as white as snow and her lips as red as blood. But those didn't get carried over, so why the choppity, droopity, Betty boopity haircut that makes Snow White look like the weird girl named Zoe that you went to kindergarten with? Why? I mean, it was weird that the parents of 1930s Snow White would name her after her physical appearance, but it's also weird that a baby was born with snow white skin and blood red lips. Why weren't they like, vampire, and then like setting the village on fire? That's what I would do, but I'm sort of a purist when it comes to the annihilation of daywalkers. Anyone else? Where are my scorched earth sisters at? Nah? Hashtag some babies are secretly succubi. That's chapter 2 of my book, right here between these 2 pages that I got stuck together from my sneeze. Such a strong writing voice I have. Where the good things grow. So Some babies are secretly succubi. Some babies are secretly succubi. Anyway, one of the biggest changes that happen in this version of the story is that Snow White is not rescued or sought after by some prince, like Prince whatever his name was in the first movie. It's actually a regular old guy who's actually not even just a regular guy, he's actually a criminal. He's a bandit, okay? His name is Jonathan. Dumb name for a dumb character. He's like the leader of a marauding group of bandits who Snow White first catches when he's like stealing bread from the castle, and she's like, oh, would you please not steal my bread? And he's like, true, you bitch. And then he makes off with it. And she's like, wow, he was hot the way he stole from my family. But it's also like, okay, she knows that the people out there are hungry. She's like, maybe if I talk to the queen, we'll get some food. And he's like, yeah, good luck. Do you even know her? She's been making you mop for 40 years. Seems like she doesn't give a what you want. But she still goes to the queen and she's like, can we give the people some food? It's like, she's like, no, I have an accent. Do you want to hear my accent? And then they bring out Jonathan. He's been caught stealing bread. And she's like, my father would be fair and let him not be like punished too harsh. And she's like, fair? You want fair? I'm the fairest. We're gonna hang him up by his head and watch him die, and you're gonna help. Yeah, this movie goes there. Well, it tries to, and I take it there. I take it well past the point that it needs to be at.
My father would show mercy. This thief stole from me, so I will steal from him. Remove his coat and boots and bind him to the gates to freeze.
Oh, so that's why at Disneyland they've been updating the gates around Snow White's castle with all of those bound, naked, frozen man corpses, their faces contorted into permanent screams of agony. They do not miss a beat when it comes to renovating the park to reflect new intellectual properties. That's how we were blessed with some of the most recent Disney-owned attractions, such as Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Avatar: The Way of Water, and from a Disney subsidiary, the Kardashians on Hulu Brain Death Lobotomy booth, located near the Assisted Suicide Kill Yourself Pavilion at Epcot, where your stem cells will be immediately harvested and injected into Kris Jenner's neck skin. Oh, and before all you Disney adults start commenting to let me know that Snow White doesn't have a castle at Disneyland, it's actually Sleeping Beauty's castle, allow me to briefly interrupt you and pose a question. Can you shut the up? I'm dealing with enough insufferable sentences just by sitting through Gal Gadot's line delivery, with energy levels ranging from wooden puppet to cartoon dog detective.
Are you against me too? Are you?
And she would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. If it weren't for you meme-obsessed on the internet. I don't know what genius pointed out that she sounds exactly like Scooby-Doo there, but my hat goes off to that person. Are you? Gal, my girl, you gotta do something here. You gotta take a course. Maybe do an improv class at NYU. I don't know what your schedule is like, but make some time. Carve out some time. The queen basically tells off Snow White and she's like, you suck. And then Snow White sings a song where she's like, I'm waiting on a wish. I don't know how the song goes. It's very forgettable, but she looks in the wishing well, sees her dead parents in like the reflection, and she's like, if only that weren't really the way that it was, but it is. And then she sees Jonathan tied to the gate where he's been hung to die. We love that. Hey, he's supposed to be naked! The queen promised to display a stripped-down bread bandit dying of exposure, hanging on the palace fence so we can all mock his frozen death dick and laugh at his ice-cold ass. You promised! The queen promised. We're gonna protest. Expose his frozen dick! Expose his frozen dick! Expose his frozen dick. I just had a moment of clarity as to why I'm no longer invited to in-person screenings. It's because I'm just too beautiful and it intimidates Hollywood. What do we want? To know if Gaston from Beauty and the Beast was uncircumcised. When do we want it? And a new animated sequel coming soon to own on VHS and DVD. Anyway, I never get what I want. Snow White lets the guy go, and she also gives him a chunk of bread. It's the piece of bread you get from Panera when they're like, do you want chips or an apple or bread? And he was like, bread, please. I don't know what chips are. And she's like, here you go. Enjoy the bread that you got with your sandwich, which is also bread. Weird side dish. This is gonna be a long video, I can already tell. So anyway, Cinderella, nope, her name is Snow White. Her like passion for fighting crime is ignited here, sort of, I guess. This whole incident with Jonathan has her realize that she should be a socially conscious person. Like when a girl who grew up in Connecticut visits Boston for the first time and realizes that her Indian coworker gets paid less than her. For example, that's just an example. I don't know anything about anything. She's like, the good things grow. She loves to sing with her mouth. Her whole mouth is singing. There's no part of her lower face that is not singing when she sings in this movie. It's crazy town to me. I get that she's from Broadway. Let's save it for the stage, sweetheart. That's all I'm gonna say. Meanwhile, the queen is also ready to shut this up. She's like talking to the huntsman, who is like a sexy man. That's all I got for him. She's like, you will kill her and put her heart in a box. And he's like, okay. So he takes her out apple picking. And here we see Snow White in her like iconic little gown and dress with the bulbous shoulders. And she's like living for the apple picking. You know how much this girl loves her apples. The only thing she loves more than picking apples is handing them to hungry strangers for no reason. I would be like, I really need protein, lady. Stop giving me all this fruit. And that's when this guy pulls a knife on her to do his deed of damaging her to death.
Why?
Okay, I know I said that this version of Snow White was kind of unnecessary, but I take it back. The live action really does more justice to the erotic tension between Snow White and her would-be assassin. I mean, if I were a young orphan and then some hot huntsman held a knife to my throat, it would my psychosexual development all the way up. I'd be like, oh yeah, stick it in me, hunty. Put my heart in a box. I hope my own blood feels warm like a hug. And then that would pretty much be my personality for life. Not saying it's a better timeline than this one, it's just different. If I could wish for anything. I'm just kidding. Don't hurt. No blood. No sex blood. That's chapter 3 of the book. Sex, blood, and me. How to remove the stains. Anyway, that's pretty much how Rachel Zegler plays Snow White, with sort of a sexually charged theater kid energy. Now that is the cross-eyed, underbitten expression of a woman who just discovered that she's into knife play. Sis had a sword to her throat and immediately started gooning. Cartoon Snow White could never. She said, I think my enchanted forest just entered its melting season early, okay? The family of deer that I'm best friends with are currently drowning, oh. There were a lot of videos online making fun of Rachel Zegler's equestrian face acting and how intense it all appears on camera. But remember, as I said, Rachel started her career on Broadway. She's a theater girly, and therefore she has to be annoying. The huntsman is like, run away, don't make me kill you, and run away into the woods, never come back. I don't care where you go, just don't come back and I won't have to kill you. And she's like, oh my goodness. And then a sequence that is pretty much shot for shot, stolen from the worst part of the animated film where it's like nightmare fuel. She's running through the woods, all these scary eyes, branches clombing onto her. And then she makes it to a clearing and she realizes that all the things she was afraid of are actually the animals that she loves. And I'm like, your hair looks better when it's soaking wet than it ever looks ever else. Stay wet, my friends. And the full animals lead her to a quaint little house, which is empty, but we have a feeling that some 7 people that are short in stature live there. She just like lays on their 3 beds. She's like, I'm gonna take up 3 of your beds. What is with her and Goldilocks just walking into houses and sleeping there? Like, girl, that's breaking and entering. You don't think they have laws in the forest? They have even more vicious laws. They will skin you alive. Anyway, we go back to somewhere else in the woods, I guess. We stop following the main character for a second for some reason. And this is the only time that happens, by the way, other than the evil queen. We break off for this third-party adventure to see the 7 dwarves, who are all modeled to look like the ones that are in the stupid animated movie, which is one of the points of contention that originally embroiled this movie in controversy. Like, original set photos or publicity photos leaked with some stand-ins for Rachel and Jonathan, but we also see a first look at the 7 dwarves, and they were actually just 7 magical creatures played by one person with dwarfism and then 6 other people of average height, including 1 woman, and they weren't going to be dwarves at all because I think Disney caught wind that maybe the dwarfism community wouldn't be happy with how they were portrayed. Many people attribute that to Peter Dinklage being on a podcast and saying, like, I can't believe they're casting a Latina actress, but they're still making it about dwarves. Like, that's so backwards because they showed dwarves as people who lived in caves. And Disney responded to that being like, we're gonna redo it. Don't worry, we're consulting with the dwarfism community to make it A-okay. And then people with dwarfism actually spoke up and they were like, I don't know what the Peter Dinklage is talking about. The original Snow White didn't actually portray dwarfism in any sort of negative light. They didn't live in a cave, they worked in a cave, and they lived in a house, if you remember Peter. So they were basically like, several people, including some of the actors who were cast in the movie or auditioned for it, were like, this kind of talk is actually costing people with dwarfism roles in Hollywood, so maybe shut the fuck up with your millions of dollars. And that's fair enough. So Disney, in one of the most expensive reshoots they had to have ever shot, redid most of the movie, from what I can tell, to A, build out the scenes with Jonathan and the merry gang of marauding bandits, and also to rework the fairy tale creatures so that they were dwarves. Instead of being played by actual people with dwarfism, they were now just CGI and look kind of exactly like the ones in the cartoon, except weirdly realistic with lots of texture on their faces. It's too much. And we get all these shot-for-shot remakes, like of their Hi-Ho thing, which I'm just like, this song is so f***ing annoying. What what the hell did that narcoleptic testicle just say to me? Because I genuinely have no idea what the lyrics just were. Like, what are we talking about? And if I seemed offensive, it's because my family has a long history of being harassed by bridge trolls. My grandparents were all billy goats. At least that's what I tell myself to explain the thickness of my toenails. Anyway, dwarves go back to the house to meet Rachel, who was the other reason that this movie was embroiled in controversy. Rachel Zegler on Twitter was very outspoken about her views against Trump, President Trump, and she was also very pro-Palestine and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which is a very divisive issue, obviously, in the world right now. And then we have Gal Gadot, her co-star, who is very pro-Israel and publicly speaks out on that side of things. So you had audiences divided to hate one member of the cast or the other, and everyone was like, so we're just not going to support this movie because either way we hate the people. Like, it's like no one wins. And then also, well before the movie even came out, like this was before reshoots and before the SAG-AFTRA strike delayed this movie's production even further. Rachel was at the D24 convention at the end of 2023, and she was like, the movie was really old, and it was obviously so. Like, in this movie, we don't even need the prince. All of Jonathan's scenes could be cut, and we wouldn't even know, because that's Hollywood, baby. And then everyone was basically mad at her, being like, you don't understand feminism. If you think that feminism means you cannot have a love interest in your life, then you don't get it. And she was like, I don't like that people misunderstood me. And I assume the Disney executives were like, and we don't like that you even talk at all. Why don't you just be a cartoon and that's the end of it? Why don't we draw our lead actors anymore? We need to make them more pencil and paper and less human with thinking. Speaking of less of these characters, we're gonna get more of them. Because of course, Gal Gadot gets to sing in this one. Sing and dance. Give her a giant staircase and a long dress, people. We're gonna have a fun time. This is after the dwarves came and like discovered Snow White, and she's like, oh, I'm not terrified of you many magical people that are here. And the queen's over there, like, she realizes that the huntsman didn't do the deed. She's like, what's in this box? Not a heart, it's an apple. Even though in the movie, originally it was the heart of a pig. Show me the bloody pig's heart and let me rub it on my naked nipples. I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, YouTube. Don't let me do it. I've been bad. I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. Anyway, she's like, take him away to the dungeon or whatever. And she's like, I'm gonna sing about how I think she says like, all is fair. It's awful.
No doubt when I'm calling out, you are the player.
This version of Snow White marks the first time that the evil queen has ever had a chance to sing or dance in a movie, so I think it's really special that they cast Gal Gadot in the role, since it also seems to be the first time she has ever had the chance to sing or dance in a movie. I'm not saying her vocals sound bad in this song, but if you thought her spoken line deliveries were the most stilted and wooden aspects of her performance, then I would venture to guess that you've had enough champagne to fill the Nile.
And enough champagne to fill the Nile.
I know she has nepotism, baby, and I just don't know how. Who did this? Anyway, did they already do the cleaning scene? No, not yet. Snow White's hanging out with the 7 dwarves. They're like eating soup and stuff, and they're all fighting amongst each other. We got the grumpy one, we got the sneezy one. You already know all of their names, right? But they're making fun of Dopey because he doesn't talk. And that's an important lesson we need to modernize for the kids about talking, I guess, and intelligence.
Now, Grumpy, you know Dopey doesn't talk. Because he's a dope. Just because his name is Dopey doesn't mean he's actually a dope.
Okay, then how the f did you all get your names then? Because it seems like someone saddled you all with cute Winnie the Pooh personality disorders as soon as they filled out your birth certificate. It seems a little unfair. Like, if these weirdly porous little people were born outside of the Magic Kingdom, they'd have been named things like manic, depressive, narcoleptic, socially anxious, nonverbal learner, asthmatic, and Doc? He seems to be the only one who didn't have a diagnosis forced upon him and then made into his entire personality. That's suspicious. He said, these are all of my best friends. Stupid, ugly, annoying, asshole, pussy-ass bitch, and I'm the learned sage who has to tell everyone what's wrong with themselves. Whatever you say, dick, but that certainly doesn't make you more eligible for above ground employment. So try not to act too smug when you're all dying in the mines together, harvesting gemstones. By the way, they're living very modestly for people who are literally thriving off of blood diamonds and such, but okay. I guess they're the blood in the diamonds. Every kiss begins with K. They made Dopey sad by making fun of him, so he walks outside and Snow White shows off more of her kind heart by being like, whistle while you work. If you can whistle, eventually you can talk. And he's like, do you think that's true? With his eyes, he says it. He doesn't talk very much in this movie. And so they go inside. Everyone's impressed that she taught him how to whistle, I guess. I'm like, when is this movie gonna die? And she also impresses them by like remembering all their names. She's like, oh, it's Sneezy, Doc, Doopy, Loopy, Poopy, Scoopy. And they're like, how'd you know that? And she's like, it's always good to remember people's names. That's what my father and mother always did. It's like, did your mom and dad teach you anything that wasn't boring and stupid? Did you learn anything ever from anyone else? How to mop, maybe? Just tell us about mopping. Have some fun advice about mopping, why don't you? Oh, and she does. She does that actually right now because she teaches them all to clean their stupid house. And they whistle while they work. Another shot-for-shot sequence, basically from the animated original. This is where the movie really shines in its not needing to be aroundness of it all. Like, come on, who cares? This is when she learns about that marauding gang of bandits that Jonathan is the lead of. Turns out they're just a byproduct of the Queen's ineptitude.
Those rebels are nothing but thieves. They're actually a band of erstwhile actors whose sustenance was made unstable by the Queen's greedy economic policy, which forced them into a liminal space where ethics and motives are ill-defined.
So I finally decided which one of these little would be the first to get smashed to death with a stick if I ever encountered them in the forest. They're scary, and Doc is as pretentious as he is hideous. But eventually, they're all getting smashed. I know that much. Except for Dopey, because he doesn't talk and depends on the others to take care of him. We leave him to starve. In case you didn't realize, in the Snow White fandom, I'm Team Evil Queen. She's relatable. I'm also temperamental, love a dark lip, and I even have a magic mirror with a pale, creepy face in it that tells me I'm pretty. Oh, nope, that's just my reflection. You look so beautiful, baby. Every prince on earth wants to fuck you. We should totally kill your stepdaughter. Oh, magic mirror, we'll do whatever you say. While I don't think it's as bad as the audience reactions would have made it seem, I do see how aspects of the live action Snow White are really forced and overall just like a waste of my time. Like these cliche attempts at humor and those magical powers that the dwarves have for some reason are kind of extrapolated on in this movie. It's like they barely come into play at all. It's like they could have been not magical and the movie would be largely unchanged. They never use the magic for anything helpful. Like, and if you're magic, how do you even not know how to clean? Like you can magically clean. Like what does your magic even do? What does your magic even do? I don't know what their magic even does. It like makes things glow. Oh, it sucks. It sucks. Anyway, Snow White is walking through the forest and she meets Jonathan again, who thinks that she's a spoiled princess, even though she's clearly not, because she's gave him that chunk of Panera bread before. But they sing a song that's like, princess problems. It's really annoying. One of the songs that they shot in reshoots, that's why you can see her wig. She meets the rest of his friends, this gang of people. I think a lot of the actors who were originally going to play the 7 fairy tale people were recast in these roles as the bandits, because Jonathan's role and the group of bandits was extrapolated on in reshoots as well. But first, they have like bow and arrow shoot off with the Queen's army who find Snow White and they're like gonna kill the bandits, and the fairy tale creatures help by causing a distraction. It's a high stakes fight to the death with the most bloodless and non-lethal violence adjacent action that you've ever seen. Snow White is even selfless enough that she dives in front of Jonathan and pushes him out of harm's way when an arrow gets shot at him, even though he still gets shot just through the shoulder, which makes him fall asleep and get sick. But they bring him to the 7 dwarves, and Doc, who doesn't have a medical degree, as it turns out, still knows how to fix him up, okay? We learn more stupid shit about the inner workings of the bandits, like the one who's played by a little person is in love with the one black woman in the whole gang. They were gonna be together by the end of the movie. Jonathan and Snow White literally fall in love, like they're singing and there are fireflies around, so it's like, oh, that's gonna be great for them. So basically Snow White at this point is like, I feel like my dad might still be alive. She is keeping him in the palace, or she sent him away, but he's alive somewhere. I can feel it. So Jonathan's like, I'll go find out. And she's like, take my necklace that my parents gave me. She's had this necklace the whole time. It doesn't matter. She's like, I'm not giving it to you. You have to return it to me. That means you're definitely coming back. And he's like, okay. So he goes off to storm the castle and pretty much immediately gets captured by the Queen's army, where they take the necklace from him, and she's like, I'm gonna do a plan. And she does like another scene that's basically ripped shot for shot from the movie, where she becomes an old lady because of a spell, and she poisons an apple, which we know is like Snow White's favorite food. It's not fair. If apples can be poisoned, then anything could be poisoned. My favorite Walkman could be poisoned. I don't know where that came from. Why was I just born in the 80s all of a sudden? Anyway, poison apple. If she bites it, she's gonna be given a sleeping death, where the only cure is true love's kiss. And this is where I'm like, listen, evil queen, you've tried to stab her through the heart. You've tried to shoot her with an arrow. All of that would have been a better death to kill someone. Why now, when you're face to face with this woman, are you gonna give her a sleeping death that is like death, but temporary if someone kisses her? I mean, I know it's a long shot that anyone would kiss a dead body, but still, why is that part of it? Why couldn't you just use real poison? Real poison is more effective than this magic poison. Explain that to me. But no, you can't, because you're too busy making your face old, even though you're literally obsessed with your youth and beauty, and you basically transform your body into the one thing you hate the most. I don't see why this has to be part of the plan. Get any old lady to do it. Get your mother-in-law to go out there. I don't understand this plan. I don't understand this plan. Anyway, the 7 dwarves are like, we're gonna go find Jonathan. He's not back yet. We're gonna go rescue him if he's in trouble, which we're assuming he is, because we don't know. Meanwhile, Jonathan is in the slave quarters with the huntsman who was put down there for dissenting. And then he's like, I've gotta help Snow White. And so they use a crowbar type thing to pry open the gate. It's like, okay, cool. This is all really paint by numbers, isn't it, by this point? And then, you know the story. The old lady shows up to Snow White's house and she's like, oh, your boyfriend got stolen for the queen, and he gave me this necklace to prove to you that I'm telling the truth. Even though that proves nothing, take a bite of this apple.
Jonathan, I'm afraid he's been captured by the queen. I need to go to him.
I will help you. Here, take this apple to sustain you on the road.
Blanca, no! Do not take this apple to sustain you on the road. Like, no offense to this random old but she does not look like the kind of person who knows what it takes to survive a long walk. This haggardly old wench transformation had Gal Gadot in the makeup chair for 4 hours each morning. And the results are very impressive. Those special effects artists clearly watched the original Snow White and then painstakingly brought to life this detailed recreation of how Hollywood sees women over the age of 28. I feel like Gal Gadot had her second baby, and then that night a producer called her on the phone and was like, congratulations! Your entire body is horribly now, so I can hire you to play the old ugly witch. And get this, we just hired Robert De Niro to play your grandson. I do love the old age makeup in this, especially those hands. It's hard to age hands. A lot of thin prosthetics needed. She said, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Which in this case is not a good thing, because from the looks of those knuckles, she really needed to keep that appointment with her rheumatologist. Snowy, sweetie, how are you not realizing that this is a poison apple? That old lady's white blood cells are attacking it through the skin. I still don't understand why she had to go do this herself. I guess it's like, if you can't do anything right, you gotta do it yourself type of thing. I don't know. Commit your murder, grandma. Just do it. Snow White is too kind, so she's like, I don't want to eat your apple, and the lady's like, but your father loved to share apples with us. So if you don't bite this apple, you hate me and your father will cry in heaven. And she's like, takes a bite of it, and then she's like, oh, by the way, your dad's dead for real. I killed him. And she's like, evil queen? It's you in that old lady skin? And she's like, like that. Now in the original movie, this big standoff happens outdoors, like the queen dies as the old lady or whatever. Oh, right? Is that true? I don't know. Either way, Snow White falls into her sleeping death, and the 7 dwarfs find her, and they're all like, we really hate this. And so the mirror on the wall is like, I'm the fairest of them all. And so the evil queen goes out to like the townspeople and she's like, bow before me, baby. There's no escaping now. I hope you love hunger and strife. Jonathan finally escapes from his prison cell, thanks to the huntsman, and goes to see Snow White, who he finds to be a dead body, which, what are you gonna do other than this one decision that I guess you could make?
I'm so sorry.
Ew, bro, how dead do her lips taste? Just to be clear, nobody but the queen knows that Snow White would wake up from True Love's kiss. So Jonathan has just taken it upon himself to make out with the dead lady he found in the field. The 7 dwarves are probably like, whoa, buddy, can we at least dissolve some of the dried blood that's caked on the corners of her mouth? Why are you doing all that? But of course, she's like, thanks for kissing me awake, Jonathan. She became Pennywise the clown. She's like, whoa, my pussy is throbbing, whoa. That's True Love's kiss. The heart beats where it beats, you know? And she's like, okay, gang of 7 dwarves and whatever, we're gonna use all of the king's horses and all of the king's men to go get the queen. I know that she killed my dad, and I'm sad about it, and I'm also sad that my mom's dead, but she didn't have anything to do with that, so I'm just like, I'm feeling a lot of emotions, let's go kill her. And they're all like, yeah, we're all gonna speak up about it. Even the one of us who didn't speak yet. That's happening.
It won't be easy. She'll do everything she can to stop us.
Let her try.
We're not afraid.
Yeah, we're totally not afraid, even though the little baby-faced dwarf has the voice of a full-grown adult. It's not jarring or scary at all. I'm pissing my pants for a completely different reason. Just a serious medical condition called get that thing the f away from me-itis. Seriously, I'm not sure they could have found Dopey a more poorly matched voice actor for this big reveal. Like, he could have opened his mouth and we just heard Roseanne Barr singing the national anthem, and I would genuinely feel less confused than I do right now. I thought Dopey was a little kid. Why does he sound like an adult zebra in a DreamWorks movie? Snow White looks just as perturbed. She's like, Dopey is a grown man? Then why have you all watched me breastfeed him every night? Because, Dorothy, you gotta get out of that house, I'm telling you. Dorothy. Snow White? Anyway, Snow White takes to the town to reclaim her spot on the throne, and this is a very empowering moment, a la Frodo Showman. You know how they like, here I come, boom, boom, and I'm marching on to the beat of drum. It's like that. They do like an arm thing and everything. It's a lot. All right, I was hoping they would close the loop on that featured extra with a flower crown subplot, you know, from Snow White's childhood, and I am not disappointed. It was such a totally effective and completely necessary piece of character development because it reminds children that sometimes it's important to be nice to even the poor girls and ugly bitches, because for then one day they may join your militia and help you kill your stepmother. We're gonna murder your stepmom! Whoa! And then display her severed head on a stick in front of the castle. This plot device feels very unearned to me because we're supposed to instantly know that this little girl from the beginning of the movie grew into this dumpy woman. Like, we needed a second interaction where, I don't know, Snow White was a young adult and so was this girl. Like, she did something else nice for her. Maybe she made her a flower crown in the field when she was just a lowly maid, or like gives her an apple to cheer her up because she's starving to death. There needs to be a rule of threes. We needed a middle thing so I could tell that this girl was the grown-up version of that girl. Because right now it's just like, oh, what? Who? Okay, this girl's with you. Thanks, lady. And then they all walk towards the king's castle, like in a group. It's a lot. I don't like it. This whole movie sucks. Now that I'm thinking about it, I thought it was okay, but now I think it sucks. And here's the evil queen being like, you think you want a pretty girl, but her.
Delicate, elegant, exquisite. A flower cannot give you what I can give you. Affection, power, beauty.
Wait, a flower can't give them beauty? But you literally just said how beautiful the flower was. See, this is the lack of attention to detail that has the whole kingdom dying of bread famine right now. Then we have Gal Gadot as the evil queen being like, no bread? Let them eat cock. You know, birthday cock, wedding cock, the people love cock. It's made from eggs and sugar and
flour.
This accent, if I were a townsperson, I would be like, does anyone know what country we're in right now? Anyway, the queen monologues and makes her point that like, you can't just be some pretty young girl to be the like ruler that you all need. You need to be a pretty like mean woman, I guess is the point. Like, that's really not clear. The whole time she wants to be prettier than Snow White, and now all of a sudden she's claiming like, oh, you want a pretty little girl? Well, you don't need a pretty little girl. You need this broad right here. It's like, you said that you were prettier than her. The mirror said that you were prettier than her. Until lately when it's like, oh yeah, because the mirror like lets the queen know that Snow White's not dead. At one point, many, many minutes ago, it was like, the girl is not dead. The apple is in the box. I think I've told you about that. So anyway, she hands Snow White the knife and she's like, oh, you want to be the queen? Then stab me through the tits, lady. That's the only choice. Oh, you can't do it? You can't stab my tits out? You can't stab my tits out, Snow White? She's really mocking her. Not quite like that, but I feel like that would have been a good, strong acting choice. Let me have a stab at this role, if you will. Stab. You want to be queen? You gotta stab my tits, baby girl. You gotta stab me in the tits and let me bleed out on the ground. God, what is wrong with me these days? Whew. Don't answer that. Or maybe do in the comments below. Engagement, farming. Anyway, Snow White is like, I can't. And she gives back the knife, which is made of magic glass or something. And that's when the queen is like, guard, kill her in front of, let the people see her die. And it's like, oh, they're really gonna execute her in front of the whole town. This is the weirdest part of France. Everyone is different American, right? They shot this in England, but like, you don't hear the extras talk, so you just assume they all have American accents. They don't. Anyway, Snow White is like about to get killed by this guard. And that's when we have this amazing callback to an earlier plot device. Remember how she said, it's really important to remember people's names? Well, that comes in handy now. Ding.
Paul, you were a farmer. You had a grove of cherry trees. Matthew, you were a baker. You never turned anyone away if they were hungry. Arthur.
Enough.
William.
I once caught you both masturbating each other behind the windmill and you threatened to kill me if I ever told. Emmanuel, remember in grade school when your little cousin perished from plague? So me and all the other children told you that we could see a little ghost baby following you around all the time, which made you so scared that you cried and threw up. And Jean-Claude, your diarrhea attacks. The soldiers are like, okay, we get it, you know us. Can we stab her now? This is such a weak plot point calling back to that stupid moment when she remembered all 7 of their names. Like, this was a thing that they invented for the live action movie, and it's like, you can tell they invented this out of thin air nothing because there's no substance to it. It's like, if you're gonna add like these new footholes into the story, they gotta be something I can grab onto. This is just so surface level. I don't like it. They could have thought of anything else. Like, even the apple thing. She's like, I love sharing apples. It's like, I don't care. Why couldn't she have been good at something, not just like good at knowing what's right and wrong? Like, what if she was really good at like apothecary type things and she could create an antibiotic from apple seeds, or she knew how the antidote to things, or like she had an encyclopedic knowledge, so she read a lot of books and she was a mathematician and that's why she can remember their names. I don't know, something there. They acted like this was gonna be a big woke Snow White, and it's not. She's more like broke Snow White. You know what I mean? Same dress, 2 days. Yeah, we know what I mean. Anyway, she's like, I know all of you, and my father would have loved it if you didn't kill me. And they're like, you know what? I'm into that. The queen is like, wait, you're all turning against me? And one of the bandits is on the roof and he shoots at her and she's like, ah! And she runs into the mirror land thing and she's like, am I the fairest of them all? And he's like, you will never be because you are ugly at heart and Snow White is always more fair. And it's like, why weren't you saying this at any point before? Are you just learning this now too? I thought you were all knowing. And he decides the beauty standards for everybody and it's based on his idea of morality? This just seems like the patriarchy dusted with a thin coating of finely milled pixie dust. But whatever, get your life, queen. And by that I mean, die.
She will always be more fair than thee.
Gal Gadot? More like Gal's gotta go. She broke into pieces. I guess the evil queen in this is like some sort of interdimensional traveler who came to Earth in order to like absorb our resources through a small village in France by using her beauty and her wiles to like take over an oligarchy. And then it's also sort of like a picture of Dorian Gray moment where when she kills the mirror, it also shatters her and she returns to the ether. I don't know if she's dead or if she just goes back out into the interdimensional plane where she'll find another realm to haunt by adapting to their beauty. I think that's kind of the vibe, but like, I don't know. They don't explain it. Or maybe they did, but I stopped listening at this point. I'm just excited that we're in the last scene ever. It's a very happy moment where everyone's doing a clippity clomp and a heel digging and a good old time. Very Greatest Showman once again. Let's see it. You can tell Snow White is gonna be an amazing ruler. Because even though this was the public execution for all of the evil queen's guards, she still made it fun. She said, all of those who committed treason by blocking my rightful place on the throne must now be joyfully stomped to death. Stomp, my people. May their screams of agony haunt your dreams forever. May the stench of their bloody pulp stain your all-white stomping uniforms. May you always remember their fate should anyone else here even consider defying me by not sharing their apples. Now everybody sing with me our new national anthem. Apples are for everyone, the queen decreed it so. Worship apples as the sky and sun, or to the stomp chamber you go. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Yes, I managed to squeeze one last original song into this video. Despite the bloody polyps in my throat, it's almost like I have total control over what I say and do and post online, as long as I get it approved by Octospider Demon Baby, who oversees all earthly affairs. For now. And that's all she wrote for Snow White 2025, the live action remake that made me lose my mind. And you can read more about that in my manifesto. But first, make sure you let me know in the comments below what you thought of this remake. Did you think it was as bad as you thought it was going to be based on the audiences saying it was going to be bad? I mean, the critics thought it was okay. You know, to me, it's like if a movie is unnecessary, that's like its worst crime. Like, at least be intentionally bad, or like go bad if you're gonna go bad. Don't just be the same as you already were, but with like a little extra Kool-Aid powder mixed in. That's how it feels. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, make sure you check out my merch In the links below, you can access this new Cheryl the Oompa Loompa Doompity Doo girl on a variety of items and things if you want it. And also there's a Patreon where you can access exclusive bonus episodes, virtual watch parties, and other extra content that you're gonna love. I love our watch parties over there. We have so much fun every month. We just finished watching, almost all the way done, watching all of the Final Destination movies together. It's a hoot. Also, give this video a big thumbs up if you wanna see even more live action Disney remakes from me. If you think I was done with my YouTube journey, you don't know the knife of it all. Slice, slice, slice. I'm gonna be back before you know it with more videos. I know I said it before, but I mean it this time. So give this video a big thumbs up. Thank you all for your support and your patience. I love you. But most importantly, if you're new here, I'd love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload them as often as I mentally can. So make sure you turn that notification bell icon on. That way you'll always know when it's been time for a new one. It's sporadic and it's not always on time for the sponsors, but hey, you're gonna know about it if you click that button. It's how you'll always be the first to know that I'm serving you a poison apple with my knobby grip. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you so much for curb stomping their enemies in your white shoes and your white shirt. You guys are all the greatest. I will see you next time.